Lost Soul Aside has tons of challenging bosses, and today we here at Direct Gaming are going to show you how to take on the Rose Queen. In this guide, we're going to cover the following. First, a look at our equipment, upgrade path, and of course our arena powers. Then, an in-depth look at the boss's moves, how to avoid said moves, and obviously how to counter these moves. Then, finally, a full run of the boss fight sped up a tad to show you how to use everything you have learned in real time. Timestamps down below, let's get started. Now, being only the second boss in the game, we don't have much to work just like with the first boss in terms of multiple weapons, attachments, upgrades, or our arena powers. However, I still want to show you what I focused on personally in case you wish to copy anything that I personally used. For equipment, I went with the Empire Glory Sword. For my arena powers, I actually changed it up and used the Frost Blast, which is going to be very handy at the end of the battle. And for trinkets, I used the Bracelet of Glimmer. You obtain this in the town that we started in before we set off into this current area we are in. This little trinket here will give you attack plus 15 when you do a perfect dodge. The final thing I want to go over is where I put some of my skill points. As I said before in our other fights, the great thing about this game is that getting skill points is actually pretty easy. They're basically handed out like candy. I unlocked a couple of moves that help out with kind of area of effectiveness. This includes things like the Heavy Cleave and Shadow Rend, which is basically level 1 and level 2, but level 2 does leave you open, so be careful about it. However, level 1 can be very quick and it deals a decent amount of damage to the boss when they're finishing their attacks. Otherwise, you're not going to need too much in terms of your sword skill tree currently right now, so let's get into the boss fight itself. Now, the Rose Queen is pretty much the opposite of Golden Lion in terms of how the fight will go. Most of Rose Queen's moves are long range, with only 1 or 2 of them being close range against you. The key to this fight is to avoid the moves as you close the distance and then deal damage. That being said, as you'd expect, she has a ton of moves to not make this easy, especially once you take down her first health bar, indicated of course at the top of the screen, noticed by the little diamonds right there. So let's go over how to avoid these moves and counter her. Her basic attacks are going to be basically anything with an arrow that will summon vines along the paths it fires on. It's pretty clear when she's about to fire it, so when you try to get your dodge in, do not dodge forward as you have a higher chance of actually hitting those vines even if you avoid the arrow. So I recommend going to the side if you want to avoid more damage. I've heard that you might be able to perfect block some of these shots, but I personally did not try this. So if you can confirm, let us know in the comments below. As the fight goes on, for this particular arrow shot here, you will eventually come across one where she does a bigger charge up version of this move. And if you get hit by this, it'll actually stun you and a bunch of vines are going to strike you in all directions. So definitely be careful of this attack if you happen to see this one on screen. When you see her fire shots into the air, you'll notice a circle will appear at your feet for a couple of seconds. During that time, you can actually dodge out of the circle before a rain of arrows strike you from above. You will also notice that the circle will shrink a tad before the arrows fire on you as more of a visual cue. This attack will happen 3 to 4 times in a row before it's finished. Now you can quick spam the dodge button to get out of this if you want to, but what I prefer to do is to wait about a second and then hit the dodge button, which will then get me a perfect dodge, thus rewarding me with an instant slash charge counter. Since you can hold 3 of these at a time, this is going to be great for not only dodging, getting your attacks ready, and then also closing the distance on the boss. Once the attack is finished, you can unleash all 3 of those on the boss right away and then do a combo attack to get some good damage on him. If you see the boss do a quick spin in place and then kneel down, she's about to fire a bunch of arrows at you in a horizontal line. Just like her attacks beforehand, these can be dodged through as well, and this will give you those instant slash counters, but just be careful of how fast this attack can be. It can hit you a few times and boom, you're going to be at some low health if you're not careful. In terms of her close combat moves, one of the few ones you might encounter is a basic combo attack. That includes 3 normal strikes and a final slash attack that actually gives you the dodge ring that we've seen beforehand. So if you happen to come across this, just be ready. Now in terms of the first health bar, these are the attacks that you're going to see until you finally take down that stamina bar. When you do, go into your most powerful moves and lay on the damage as much as possible. Like I've stated in other guides, I recommend actually using basic combos or using your L2 and R2 ability to transform and do major damage before you use the sync finisher. Use this when her stamina bar is close to being completely full again. As you deal more and more damage to the boss is going to start to change up her attacks, but only after you've taken out the first health bar completely. Once this happens, it's time to go over her most dangerous move. When you see the boss throw her sword or kind of shoot an arrow into the ground in the center of the arena, she's going to jump on top of it. When this happens, roses are going to fill around most of the arena. During this time, random bushes of roses are actually going to grow in these areas. If you touch them, they're going to explode and hurt you. Of course, the boss is also going to be firing off different shots that you've seen beforehand, so just get your dodges ready to get those instant slash charges. When the boss actually ends up jumping off of the main center platform and dashes towards you, this is where you need to make sure you have your stamina charges ready. Her first move is going to be a dive bomb attack where roses are actually going to flow along the ground and around her. Touching these is obviously going to hurt you, and it can trap you since getting hit will knock you back and her other attacks will continue on. Try to jump over this move after she's dive bombed you and towards her to avoid most of the damage. After this happens for a while, the boss might repeat a few moves, but eventually she will go back to her basic attacks. The only new move that I personally saw as the boss battle went on was this skating-like move that you see here on screen. When the boss skates around in a circle, rose bushes will pop up around that same area she skated around. Just like beforehand, these will obviously explode, so it's best to simply stay away until this move is completed. Other than that, this boss fight isn't too tricky. It is a little bit more long range than one beforehand, but do keep an eye on your health, especially if you turn off rumble, since getting hit in this game does not result in your character getting tossed around too much. You could be in the middle of a combo, but getting hit at the same time, so just be careful, and of course, don't be afraid to use your potions. Keep the attacks until you finally take down the Rose Queen. Now, here's a full run of the boss fight sped up a tad to show you how to use everything in real time. Don't be afraid to use items like I mentioned beforehand to make things easier, especially if this boss is too challenging. As always, learn the attacks and patterns of said boss to make it easier. It's okay if it takes a couple of tries. If you enjoyed the guides, then the like on the video shows us that you enjoy this type of content. And don't forget to check out our other Lost Solo side guides and content, along with our other videos in the top right corner and pinned comments. Thanks for watching the video. I've been Talon with Direct Gaming. I hope you have a great day and week, and I hope to see you in our next video or in our live streams. We enjoy getting to chat with everyone who stops by. Until next time, though, Johnny.
進んで芸術に身を捧げる気がないのなら力ずくで作品にするまで鬱陶しいと言った理由分かってもらえたか飛び散る自信たまらないわは私を楽しませて恐怖に打ち震えなさいここからだ真の芸術家たるもの一つの技法に執着などしないここまでだ力を合わせよう昔から我を甘く見てきたな何一つ変わらんな尊大なところも壊れているところもつまんない私は最高の美を見せてるのに逃げることしか考えてないわけ危ういぞここからだこれでどうだ手を貸してくれ我が力を示してやるリードアリーナ最高級の痛みその喜びを堪能するといいわ見るがいいわ私 の場にのみ咲くこの鮮やかな花を止められるものなら止めてみなさい。咲き誇るのよ。粉々に砕け散るがいい。
賢くいくぞ。
最高級の痛み、その喜びを堪能するといいわ。咲き誇るのよ。
危ういぞ。本気を出すぞ。
最高級の痛み、その喜びを堪能するといいわ。
力を貸せ。
芸術は咲き誇り枯れて散るの、バラのように。